Well, you better believe it. Every time India plays Bangladesh, it just goes down to the wire, even though the wire may not necessarily suggest that it was as close. India did have it under control in the last couple of overs, but when it comes down to one blow, anything could happen. Arshdeep Singh keeping his cool at the end, other than that first delivery of the final over, and Nurul Hassan fought well, but I think some of the middle order batsmen just let Bangladesh down after that start from Liton Das. 60 of 27, Nurul Hassan also is very similar in stature to Liton Das, 25 of 14. And it was wickets for Hardik Pandya, Arshdeep Singh and Mohammad Shami that made sure Bangladesh fall short by 5 runs, just 5 runs. But it was really at the rain break Bangladesh's game to lose. India snatched it away, bowled brilliantly, kept their nerve, kept their cool and picked up an invaluable 2 points. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live to assess what's been a hectic, a long cricket match between India and Bangladesh at the Adelaide Oval. I'm joined by Zaheer Khan and Joy Bhattacharjya. Well, as we said, at the break, you normally think if rain falls, shortened overs, well, the chasing side should celebrate. But you could tell by their body language, they were not really happy to come out again. They were not really happy with all the calculations going on.
Yeah, I think somewhere there they lost. I think Litton lost, I mean, the momentum. Of course, he got run out afterwards. He didn't get out. But they lost that momentum. They lost where they were. They were in a very good place before that. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's got disturbed. And I'll tell you one thing. When you're a team which is playing against a team which has had a superior record, the less time you have to think about what needs to be done, the better. Because then you're just executing. The moment you go back, you're thinking, okay, I could win this match. And that's why, to give you a good analogy, that's why reflex catches are always easier than high catches. Because, reflex catch, you just catch the ball. Like Litton was just batting. The moment those two Bangladeshi batsmen go into the pavilion, they sit out there and they wonder, okay, we could win this match. All sorts of stuff starts happening. So that's why it was, not great for them, this break. And full marks to India. I mean, they were in a tough situation, which became even tougher because of the run rate. They played some brilliant cricket and they held their nerve when it really mattered.
And the numbers tell the story, Zaheer. 66 in the first 7, 79 for 6 in the next 9. Couldn't get a bigger gulf than that.
Well, I think they made a mess of it. They were in a controlling position. You look at the required rate, 9 overs, 85 runs to get 10 wickets in hand. If that is the equation, you just got to get the bowlers in that situation where they start to feel the pressure and start committing those errors. You've seen all the best finishers do that consistently. I think Bangladesh got ahead of themselves. They started thinking big shots. And that's where the problem started. They started losing wickets, and losing wickets at any stage doesn't really help you. So that is something which Bangladesh couldn't do. What India did well was held their nerves, got all the catches. You saw a brilliance in the field as well with KL Rahul taking that run out of a crucial wicket. So that is something which was very important. So I think the superior team just held the nerves, kept their cool, and just knew that how important you saw the body language of Surya also after taking those catches, right? Everyone knew that it's not going to be easy. And they approached the game, the remaining of the innings in that fashion, no matter what it takes, just get over the line. And the mistakes of Bangladesh batters actually played in their favor.
I mean, twice in one day, Joy, the second half of the effort from Bangladesh, 9 overs, 79 for 6, reminded me of Zimbabwe's batting earlier in the day. Same ground.
No, absolutely. And you see, the other thing, if you have to think about it, the same Indian team against South Africa, when it comes down to it, okay, your total may not have been enough or whatever, missed run out opportunity, much closer, okay, dropped catch. Here, what did you do? You held everything. You held everything. And some of those catches were very high. And remember, this is a slippery ball. Okay, the one that Deepak Hooda took, especially in the outfield, that ball off Shakib, that was really high. The run out was absolutely brilliant. I mean, he was quite a distance away. Rohit Sharma's run out the previous day was a much easier run out. So on the day that you hold your chances, you hold your nerve, you take your chances on the run outs, that's when it makes a difference. And I think those were the crucial things in India's favour, and they ticked them all. They didn't let a single opportunity go. I mean, Litton batted brilliantly, nearly took the game away from India, but they took their chances, India.
Yeah, there you have it. That's if you have a look at that scorecard, doesn't necessarily always tell the story. If you see it, you've got Nurul Hassan 25 of 14. Taskin hit a few crucial blows at the end, 12 not out of 7. But it was all about that top half. The partnership between Litton and Najmul Hussain Shanto was a bit like the partnership between KL Rahul initially when he was going. And it was, or rather, the partnership between Surya Kumar and Virat Kohli, where it was 90% to one player. But after that, everything fell apart. But you'd also have to give credit to the skipper. Zaheer, you know Rohit Sharma, the captain, well. And he's someone who thinks on his feet. And you could see he was keeping his nerve. He had to make a few calculations. He needed to have that choice for that final over. He left it for himself and he chose well.
Exactly. You got to know all your options. You got to do the smart thing. What was the smart thing today? Arshdeep bowling 4 overs. I think that was very smart. Leaving that decision till the last over is the smartness of the captain. You know, you have to keep things calm. Yes, there is the think tank around which will be discussing, okay, what is the ideal thing to do. But I think to leave that 1 over and leaving him options of using either Shami or Bhuvneshwar or Arshdeep, and then deciding that, okay, Arshdeep, because of the left arm angle, someone who has been taking wickets, someone who's been executing things well, he went with Arshdeep in that last over. Is the smartness of captain. I mean, you know, in this format, all these small margins really matter, and to use the spinners as well, using Hardik's 3 overs. These are all the things under pressure at times you can miss. And someone who is able to do that, and he's got the experience also of that. But you know, you always know that someone who is tactically very sound and is going to maintain his cool under pressure is something which has been the hallmark of Rohit Sharma through and through his captaincy career.
And this is not part of a formula. I mean, you can have a lot of formulae when you start out and say, okay, this is kind of my plan. You can't plan for post a rain break. Suddenly, okay, one bowler can bowl 4, the others can bowl 3. You've got to think on your feet. He did.
2 things. One, he did. 2 is that I think, you know, fantastic. You were seeing just before Hardik bowled, you know, this huge animated discussion between Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, and they were very animated. And what was the great thing about it? I mean, it was that both were very passionate, and Rohit was trying to explain to Virat why I'm doing this, I'm keeping my options open and all that. And that at least tells you one thing, that, you know, there's so much talk about ex-captains and they're being distant. Not look at those emotions on the field, and you realize that whether this team goes all the way or doesn't, this is a united side where everyone is pulling in the same direction. And I think that is just as much important for India. The other important thing for India is, had this been a very easy match, okay, it does not bring you together a team as much as a match like this does. You know, matches like this, matches like the win against Pakistan, really bring the playing unit together. And I think that's really important, because you had that with the Pakistan match, then you lost a little bit of momentum with the match against South Africa. And here you've had a chance to regain that. And I think that's fantastic for India.
Well, I'd probably like to add one thing to what Joy said. I know he was looking at the positive side of it, but if you think back to a parallel maybe to the 2019 50 over World Cup, where there have been scenarios where a team at the league stage has it easy and suddenly finds their toughest game is the knockout game in the semi-final. Here you've had your close game, you've had a big emotional win against Pakistan, and then you've had the loss to South Africa, so that's been your jhatka in a sense. So you've had all of it, and then you can get to the knockout stage and you're well prepared.
Yes, if you have these kind of games, that does help. And today you could make out from the body language, you could make out from the energy on the ground. Everyone knew it's not going to be easy, and you have to bring your A++ game out there, and that's something really really gets the team together, gets them going. It's important to have these kind of exposures time and again in a tournament like World Cup, for sure. So yes, keeping that in mind, this particular outing is definitely going to go a long way, because this was the pressure of the highest order being put onto this bowling lineup, and they've delivered. You know, they've held their nerves, they've caught well, they've fielded well. So all these things will matter when it will be the crucial stage of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the bowlers, everyone did their job at different times, but the one who would have been under the most pressure, who was given the 4 overs, remember that's almost a privilege in a situation where only one bowler can bowl 4. Who is it going to be? The senior most, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Second, Mohammad Shami in pecking order. but it's Arshdeep Singh, the new kid on the block, who's been given that fourth over. Not the best first delivery, pitches it in the absolute wrong place, gets smashed for 6, but there was nobody going, what on earth are you doing? It was, okay, never mind, you've been given this over for a reason.
No, absolutely. I think everyone knew what they were doing, and I mean, they would have just said, yeah, don't bowl length. At this point in time, the kind of length you're bowling, you can't afford to, because somebody will swing wildly, will get a touch and it will go straight up. So that's the thing, that I feel that they knew this is the player they wanted. And you know, they talk about steel. How does steel get annealed? You know, you heat it to a great temperature, then you plunge it into water. So basically, those are the conditions in which players are made, you know, from very, very hot conditions. That's when players are actually built. And I think Arshdeep will be the better bowler for this. And he held his nerve, because, you know, even with 7 required in the last over, it goes for a 6, it's a super over. Things could look, you know, one wild hit and it could go. So it took a bit to do it, and I think Arshdeep played very well. On another note, of course, you know, KL Rahul, I was just thinking, you know, first the 50, then the run out, and then said, on Shah Rukh Khan's birthday, Rahul has to do well. As, you know, our Cricbuzz producer said, no, not me, this is Shishendu. On Shah Rukh's birthday, Rahul acha nahi karega, to kaun karega, you know.
Perfect way to round that off. But something about the left-arm seam community. If you look at the top wicket takers in the tournament, Sam Curran, Arshdeep Singh, Zaheer Khan, to assess that.
Well, he's been that one player to watch out for from this World Cup. You know, there's no doubt about it. One youngster who's been growing in confidence, and great to see him right up there. You know, he's growing in confidence, and more matches he plays under pressure, it's just going to help him grow faster as a bowler, as someone who team can rely on. He's been consistently giving those early breakthroughs, and that's something which for a swing bowler is very important. You've seen how he's mixing his delivery as well. Today also to bowl that bouncer to Shakib, you know, he's smart. He's sussing the situation, he's understanding, he's trying to find the pulse of the batsman, what he's looking to do, and then able to counter that. So that is something is a great sign for any bowler. So Arshdeep has certainly got a bright future ahead of him.
And it's not been an easy journey. Just think back a few months ago when he puts down a catch in a crucial game. The bowling was not coming out right, didn't pick up wickets in a game, and you're suddenly thinking, okay, everyone points fingers at him.
True. I mean, just one Asia Cup away, and that's not so far away. But see, that's the thing about, I think there are good things about social media and there are bad things about social media. And I think today the Indian team, the way they look at these incidents, and sometimes, no, when you get abuse from the outside, teams become closer. And, you know, Zach will tell you that, you know, sometimes losing, because, you know, when you lose, the only people who really care as much as you are you in the dressing room and the people around you. Nobody else can understand how bad you feel. And it sometimes brings teams closer. And I think when Arshdeep was attacked by people, I think his teammates coming together and saying that, you know, how dare you say this about him? He's a young bowler, give him his opportunities. How dare you do this? Any player could have done that. I think that has brought them closer together as a team, has built him, made him more resilient. So I think these are good things for a player to have. And I think one of the things that happens nowadays is because we play so much cricket, you experience also very fast. You know, 10, 15 years back, to play this much cricket in this much time, you know, an IPL you're playing, you didn't have that, a situation where you're playing an IPL, then you're playing an Asia Cup, then you're playing a World Cup. In 7, 8 months, a player who's not played for India is suddenly a seasoned veteran. I mean, in 2003, 4, you would have had to have played 2 years to have that kind of experience. And I think that's what's also happening. Players are hardening up, getting experience much faster now.
And you have to say overall, I mean, we've talked about the bowling. Overall, as a unit, the fact that you're not having to go beyond, say, 12 players at the moment, which is what you're choosing from, is really helping in a tournament that's not that long. Obviously, if you have a tournament as long as the 2019 World Cup, you might just go around an entire squad of 15 or 16. But here, the fact that they've got that unit of 12, it's been one Deepak Hooda, one Akshar Patel, that's about it.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, and they've been making a conscious effort of that, and sticking to the plans, sticking to the processes which they've felt that, okay, this is how we're going to approach this World Cup, and so far it has worked very well for them. So you will see the continuation of that from today's performance. There are a few red flags if you have to be like really critical, and I'm sure when I'm saying red flag, you're talking about the back end of the tournament, and you want your fine tuning to be done very precisely. I'm sure there will be some conversations around that with the new ball, what different you could have done. Uh, there will be times, when the openers are going to come hard at you. There will be times when the wicket will not be providing that kind of a help as we are getting in the summer of Australia. And this was like a very tricky phase where we are seeing these overhead conditions which are assisting bowlers so much. Maybe in another week or 10 days, it might be different. So on tough days, what are the options? When Liton Das was going hard at you in the first 6 overs, what are the options which you will have? The think tank will also think of how they want to use Bhuvneshwar, because so far in the tournament we've seen Bhuvneshwar is someone who's been used 3 overs up front. Is it something which the other teams are also planning? Is it something which they're taking advantage of, and you need to change that pattern? Those are the discussions I'm sure will be on the cards, and out of that, if there is some change required, it's for the team management to take that call now when it matters the most. So spin department also in this tournament we've seen has been under a little bit of extra pressure. So that one discussion has to happen for sure. What is there a case of bringing Chahal in, or you want to continue with the same kind of thought process what you had? Those discussions need to happen, and they need to happen in a very frank way for them to take the right informed call when they go forward when it matters the most.
Yeah, I can tell you things could change. I spend far too much time on weather apps, and we were talking about the temperatures being 12 and 9 in Adelaide now. In 4 days' time, the maximum temperature in Adelaide is going to be 28 degrees. That's how quickly it can change. And as you approach the semi-final, it'll probably be in the high 20s, and the conditions will be completely different for cricket once that happens. Just to finish off, little credit to Bangladesh while they were going. We talked about the second half of the innings that was disappointing, but the first half, Liton Das didn't get an opportunity to do what he did today early in the tournament, but really that's where he belongs.
I thought he was brilliant, and I think people have been talking about it, that Liton needs more time up front. He's the one, he and Afif are the two players who looked as if they belonged to this format towards the end. Tuskin definitely, as Tuskin and Mustafizir as bowlers definitely. They are naturally play in this format, the kind of attacking cricket. And I think full credit to him, he took the attack to the Indian bowlers, and as Zach is saying, that they need to go back and think about it because they were powerless. Because once the ball was not swinging, he just played through the line. And he was not scared, he was stepping up, he was changing their lengths, and he just made it very difficult for them. And I think he was absolutely brilliant. And it was unfortunate that he had to get out to a run out, but that was the kind of match-winning effort that happens on these kind of days, because Liton didn't look as if he didn't give the Indian players a chance at all. I mean, there were a couple of balls that, one slip catch which was tough and one that fell early, but after that he looked fantastic.
Yeah, so positives to take out for Bangladesh, even if it's not the 2 points. India, critical 2 points. This is where it stands right now for India. On top with 6 points, they could easily have been sitting on 4. Bangladesh would have had 6. India would have then been meeting Zimbabwe with a situation that would have been very, very different from this. Well, India now sit pretty with a game against Zimbabwe to come. So if things go the way it should go, if weather doesn't intervene, India get to 8 points, and then it's really South Africa's chance to either get there as they should or not get there. That looks like the likely semi-final lineup from this particular group. And South Africa, well, they will be the talking point next, because they play next in probably what's the most eagerly awaited clash in this part of the league stage. Pakistan versus South Africa. You can't really choose between the two sides, though if you look at India's opposition against both of them, you'd have to make South Africa favourites, but you can't really go by that logic. A beats B, B beats C, so A has to beat C.
Absolutely. Where are they playing? They're playing at the Adelaide?
They're playing at the SCG.
SCG, yeah, okay. SCG at least is a bit of an advantage, because the South African fast bowlers were scary when they were playing at Perth. I think the kind of lengths that they were bowling, but these are perhaps in my book perhaps the two most complete attacks when they are going well. They're two very, very good attacks. Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah Afridi, their gang. You look at the other side in Giri, Rabada, Nokia. These are two very, very good attacks going against each other. I think this has a position of being a fantastic clash, because also Pakistan is playing in a desperate situation. South Africa is not desperate. Pakistan, I think, is in a desperate situation. They're going to go really hard. This will be a good match to watch. This will be a brilliant match.
Yeah, I mean, the two bowling attacks, really now they're coming up against each other. How do they stack up? I mean, if you have to sit back from a neutral perspective and say, I'd like to be in one camp or the other, which attack would you rather have as your own?
At the moment, I would say South Africa. In form attack, doing well, the team is doing well, so the morale of the camp is very high. Pakistan, Shaheen Shah Afridi just coming off injury, still needs a bit more game time is what it looked like so far in the tournament. He's getting better with each game, but still not at his best. So I think, when you're comparing the two attacks, you would say South Africa has a slight edge ahead. It'll be interesting to see what they do tactically tomorrow. Because playing in Sydney, you might want to introduce Shamsi in the bowling attack. If they decide to do that, then who they're going to leave out is the call which they have to make. Pakistan and South Africa, when you're comparing the two playing 11s, I think South Africa again is winning there because you have Quinton de Kock, who's been in form, can really make that impact. Pace doesn't really bother him, so he'll be able to counter Pakistan's pace battery pretty convincingly, I feel. Aiden Markram, another good player. David Miller has been in terrific touch, finished the game against India. Riley Rousseau has scored that brilliant 100. So I think when you're looking at the two teams, you would say South Africa definitely has that edge. Pakistan has not really got themselves going in this tournament in the most ideal fashion. So yeah, I think tomorrow, if you have to just go on paper and on form, currently what's happening, you would say South Africa is inching ahead of Pakistan.
But Rabada, Nokia and Lungisani and Giri picked themselves. Wayne Parnell has shown that he's a real asset. So if you have to get Tabraiz Shamsi, it's got to be at the expense of Keshav Maharaj.
I think they could, on this pitch, they could play two spinners. They could take, even Ngidi, they could leave out Ngidi as well. Very good chance of leaving Ngidi, because if there's any ground in Australia where you're going to play two spinners, they're going to play. And I think from...
You can use Markram.
Huh?
You can use Markram if you want a second spinner. I mean, I know it's not the same, but Lungisani and Ngidi after that last performance?
I know, but my point is, again, I feel that if they have to play one spinner, normally they prefer Maharaj to Shamsi. Right now, the way they play, they prefer Maharaj to Shamsi. So I feel that if Shamsi gets a chance in the side, it will be at the expense of a fast bowler. And if you look at fast bowlers, the only one he can really replace is Ngidi. Given by, not saying what, he was performing absolutely fantastic, but I feel that if they do it, it will be do it for that. They'll play both spinners, but they will not play, my sense is they will not play Shamsi in place of Maharaj. But I mean, that's the only change you can think about.
Leave Temba out, bring in Shamsi, let Aiden Markram captain. I said that about
they got good headaches. They got.
But tell me one thing. I was put them onto it. I was desperately struggling while I was speaking. Who is the best performing captain in this World Cup? Because certainly that is the talking position. That's what
tomorrow's game, I don't know who's going to run the tournament between Babar and Bavuma.
Exactly. Babar Azam. It's not that Rohit has had one semi-decent innings. Aaron Finch has had one semi-decent innings. I mean,
Shakib hasn't done too much. Scott Edwards from Holland hasn't done anything at all.
Yes, exactly. So, it's certainly not a captain's World Cup at this point in time.
Only Jos Butler.
Jos Butler's finally got runs.
Yes.
Finally got runs.
But interestingly, if you have a look at the numbers, I mean, it's going to be a very different scenario with these two bowling attacks. But so far, the teams batting first in Sydney, 200, 205, 179, 167. New Zealand, South Africa, India and New Zealand again. So that's some serious runs at the top there in a World Cup where we've seen 150 being the kind of score you're looking at.
Yes, and there have been pace-off deliveries bowled on that particular track. Spinners have played a role there. So that's why I'm saying that, maybe spin is going to be a factor in Sydney for sure. Our teams have been preferring fast bowlers, but the one of the grounds where consistently runs have been scored in excess of 150 is SCG. So that is something which both the teams will be taking note of, and the matchups and the tactics and the strategies will be made accordingly. Pakistan, I feel that they've been not so confident with their batting lineup. Fakhar Zaman, there's some injury update on.
Yes, he's definitely out. He's twisted his knee.
Yeah, so that's not going to help their cause. So that one force change for sure they'll have. Shan Masood is the only guy who's been among the runs, but they've been making use of the all-rounders, uh, which has not really resulted them in giving the solid finish to the innings. So when you're looking at South Africa and you're looking at Stubbs, Miller, Risso, there is enough firepower at the back end as well. But with Pakistan, that's not the case. They are overly dependent on Babar Azam and Rizwan. So Pakistan's story is going to remain the same if they get a good start. And Babar, so far in the tournament, has not been in double-digit scores. So that is something has been a big worry. Add to that the losses. The loss against India is not going to help his cause. The injuries is not going to really make him settle things down in his head that easily leading up to the game. Yeah, so all in all, you'll see two camps. One is more comfortably placed, and one is having conversations which are actually not related to the tactics, but the concerns around the group, which is never a great place to be in.
Am I allowed to say this too shall pass, Babar? But just to bring that Pakistan squad back for a moment, Joy, if we have to make the choice with Fakhar Zaman not there, you've got the finisher in Asif Ali and you've got the middle order batsman in Haider Ali. Which of the two would you probably think they go for?
Look, I think I would like to see Haider Ali there. I simply don't see enough batsmen there. I mean, that's the thing, that they have finishers, they have a lot of all-rounders. I think they have more bowling options than they need. I would actually like both Asif Ali and Haider Ali both to be there, because they're playing with these four all-rounders, and I think you've got enough bowling resources, because Shaheen Shah, Afridi, Halstroff and Naseem Shah all will give you 12 every day of the week. Okay, Shadab will give you. And then you need Nawaz, Iftikhar and Mohammad Wasim Jr. I think it's an over-reliance on resources. Again, I liked, for example, what Bangladesh did today. They played 5 pure bowlers. I mean, what happens with a lot of all-rounders is bits and pieces. I'm not sure whether he'll do it or he'll do it, let me put. Whereas sometimes when you put down and said, okay, you're batsman, Asif Ali, you're Haider Ali, you're batsman, I need 180 out of you. We have 6 solid batsmen, I need 180 out of you guys. And I think that is what, that clarity of thought is what I think Pakistan needs right now. And they're in a desperate stage. See, it is always easier to make good decisions when you're desperate, because you have nothing to lose. At this stage where Pakistan is, they are one match from being knocked out of the tournament. So they can give it everything they have and it does not matter to them. A win is they're underdogs today. The pressure in that sense is on South Africa, it's not on them. And therefore, I think they should play bravely, they should make smart decisions, and they should not rely on a whole plethora of all-rounders, because that's just saying that I don't want to make choices now. Let me make the choice in the field. Rather say, these are my 6 batsmen, you're going to deliver for me, you are my bowlers, deliver for me.
Well, we know Babar Azam is a class act. We've seen what happened with KL Rahul earlier today. It took one shot to get him into the innings and one innings to get back the KL Rahul we know. And I'm sure for all Pakistan fans out there, he's just one innings away from showing what he is, and that could well be against South Africa at the SCG. Quickly, in 5 seconds, player to watch out for each of you. Joy.
Player to watch out for me, I'm going to stick my neck out and say I think Babar Azam is going to have a good game tomorrow.
Say it.
Quinton de Kock.
All right. Quinton de Kock too hadn't exactly set the place on fire the way we know he can. But yeah, Quinton de Kock, the Mumbai crowds know him well. Babar Azam is the other. We've almost come to the end as we've looked ahead to Pakistan, South Africa. We've looked back to a nail-biter between India and Bangladesh with lots of rain at the Adelaide Oval. But we've been waiting for the answer to Joy's question with bated breath across 2 matches and a 22-minute rain break. Finally.
Okay, it's one about somebody who I think all of you know. Indian cricketer, more than 60 matches, didn't bat in 30 of them, yet made a one-day international century. And the player is the one and only
Chetan Sharma, is the one I was
the
thinking
101,
of
of course.
I was also thinking.
He came in at number 3 and smashed it, and it's surprising because most of his innings, you go down the list, DNB, didn't bat in most of them. But when he got the opportunity, I think his next highest score is 38. And in between, not a single 50, and 35 innings that he's batted, not a single 50. There's 100, 138, and I think the next score is 20 or something.
Yeah, there's some fascinating records about players who have got a high score and the next highest score. And I think, remember seeing the other day, it was One is Jason Gillespie,
Karun
but
Nair.
Karun Nair with
Karun
his
Nair.
triple 100 and second high score is 28.
28, yeah.
So, yeah, so that's another trivia question that I've just ruined for Joy. But meanwhile, let's see what we've got in terms of a winner. And our winner today is Sabarish G. Well done for picking that up, getting Snake Sharma. That's what his nickname was in those days, Snake Sharma. It's someone from the England team who probably gave him that nickname. But that's all we have on Cricbuzz Live. We're looking forward to much more tomorrow. It's a single header, just a bit of a breather from our double headers. Starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for a 1:30 start Indian Standard Time, and in the evening in Sydney. That's all we have from Cricbuzz Live. Just about time to say thank you to Zaheer Khan, to Joy Bhattacharya, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.